I brought this little toy, counting blocks, for little kids to learn and count and play with. And I brought it because I've always had a fascination with how our brain works, how we learn things and how we can do all of the marvelous things that we can do. And I think this wonder is, super clear when you watch little babies, infants grow up, play with things and learn, explore the world, learn how to handle toys, how to put things on top of each other, how gravity works, learn how to count. And we see there, the developing brain in action. I think that's endlessly fascinating. In high school, I liked all kinds of subjects, had quite a broad curiosity. I was interested to learn more about science, and that's why I chose bioengineering, because it was quite broad, and I think it prepared me very well for, a broad range of careers that are all interesting. So I'm super happy with my choice of bioengineering. Doing a PhD has really opened my eyes to the world and to myself. It opened a lot of doors for me in the research world. I met a lot of people who are inspirational on various ways. And so I sort of have a much more open-minded view in working with people. And also about myself, I realized, going through all the ups and downs of the PhD and fail and climb back up again. So I really sort of made it my motto, the saying of, a successful person is someone who falls 7 times but gets up 8 times. It's a saying I knew, but then after living it, I really also am much more resilient, I think, now. That I think, okay, this seems an insurmountable challenge now, or I want to do this, or I want to write a book, or like a big project that might seem impossible to do. And now I think, well, in 2 or 3 years, so much can change. You can achieve so much, especially if you find the right people to do it with. So I became much more sort of constructive and resilient, I think is probably the best word. Through a series of choices, went abroad with my partner and applied for jobs. We were in Australia and I had applied for a position at the university, but it was more a project management position. No more failed experiments and failed essays. But still, advancing research. So I thought this is the right job for me, but I didn't get the job. I was ranked second, and I was, unhappy for 1 split second. They immediately said, actually, we have one of our postdocs. They're going for a short period to the World Health Organization. We need someone to take over their project, and you have the right profile. Don't you want to do this? And I was like, well, I didn't have anything else. I'll do it and let's see what I can still apply for other jobs. So I sort of accepted it out of a practical reason. And so I ended up doing a postdoc, which I didn't plan on doing. I was in Australia doing my postdoc and I got a call from a former colleague in Leuven that they wanted someone to help with communication. The departments were restructured and they needed a website, social media. They needed someone to be out and about, maybe organize an event, and whether I was interested in doing that. And I was like, yeah, that sounds super fun. Even during my PhD and also during my postdoc, I was always the one who, was taking initiative when it was an open science day or when there was a lab tour with kids. I really loved talking about science because, I was so fascinated by the research we were doing. I wanted to share it with everyone. And so this job seemed very interesting, but I was still finishing up my postdoc. So I did a little bit of communication freelance on the side. And then when I came back eventually to Belgium in 2017, I started working full-time as a science communicator at the neuroscience department at VIB and KU Leuven. I actually often introduce myself as a research communicator. What I do really is to support busy researchers who do fantastic and important work and who realize that society and peers and everyone needs to know about this, to be able to interact, collaborate, have an impact. But who find it difficult to make the time or that don't have the skills to do so and to support them. You need to do some PR as a researcher today. This is the reality. And after doing that for a few years, I decided to go freelance. When you are a science communicator for an institute or a department or a research center, you are, in the end, the PR person for that institute or that department. And while that in 95% of the cases overlaps with being the PR person for the science. In 5 or 2 or a small percentage of the time, you're not. You're promoting the institute, and I really wanted to be the science spokesperson. I just go full speed ahead with people who are ready to go full speed ahead. So that's what I love about being a freelancer, and also to broaden my horizon. I was working as a science communicator at the center where I originally did my PhD. So that was very nice. I knew the people, I knew the subject. But after some time, I was also ready to explore a bit, other labs, other subjects, work with other types of researchers and other constellations. I'm now working also for some companies. And I think this diversity is very, very attractive for me. My main tip for people who are considering working on their own, freelance, or starting their own business is to not be so scared. A lot of people are doing it. More and more people are doing it, and you can do it too. Especially if you have a PhD, then I'm sure you can do it because you've gone through a lot worse, most likely, in terms of, starting from scratch again and building things up and trying to find a creative solution for a problem. So you have all the problem-solving skills you need. The skills you learn in your PhD is project management and communication. You have to communicate a lot as a scientist, writing papers, presenting posters, presenting talks. Those are skills that I think are very important for entrepreneurs, or when you start a company, is to think, okay, what is it I want to achieve? How will I get there? What is important? What is not important? What are the steps I need to take? Keeping this big picture and also selling it. I think as a scientist also you need to sell your work up front when you're trying to get funding through a grant. You need to sell it afterwards. And of course, if you have your own business, you also have to sell yourself and your activity. So that for sure as well. My scientific network is super helpful to me today. These are my potential clients. People who have known me from the lab and hear, oh, she's doing communication now, maybe we can ask her. And then maybe one final piece of advice that I don't know if it's helpful is that, it's normal that it's difficult. People have told me this. I didn't internalize it, but I find it endlessly fascinating how when I look back now, or if I would show you my CV, the publications, the output of my PhD, I mean, you'd be impressed. I'm impressed. If someone would have told me in the beginning, this would be the outcome, I'd be like, whoa, dream PhD, I'm doing it, this is great. But during the PhD, it felt awful at times, and it didn't feel like a success. So I think the PhD taught me that what success looks like and what success feels like is very different. And I think that's something that, if I would have understood that, but I think you have to go through it to really learn it, that would have made my life a lot easier, because my PhD was a success, even though it felt for a long time that it wasn't successful.